Welcome back to this live broadcast, and this is the Monday, Wednesday, Friday segment where it's actually the home edition, and we are really happy and grateful to be able to still go live with you guys weekly and feed you content, and extremely grateful for those of you that have been joining us during this time as we talk business and projects and different things that you can be doing to stay busy or stay in business so that you can get apparel orders out. So this is the Making It Together Home Edition. We go every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we do a lot of the crafty stuff with the pink heat press and the Cricut. So if you're working with some of that stuff, whether it's a home iron and a desktop cutter, or a small heat press, such as the one behind me that you see here. This is the 9x12 pink craft press that I've been using throughout the duration of this segment. And then Josh has been going live every Tuesday and Thursday as well. And he's doing some more advanced equipment. He's using the Graphtec C6000 or the Roland. I can't remember which brand of cutter that he has, but it's the larger scale one, and then he has the Hotronix Auto Clam. And a conversation we've been having a lot is the type of technology that you're utilizing during this time. And there are a lot of different technologies out there when it comes to heat printing and cutting heat transfer vinyl and different print methods, whether that be DTG or screen print and those sublimation, those different types of things. And so if you are, at home and you need something that you can easily be able to print apparel with, we are highly recommending, a heat press and a vinyl cutter. And that's why we chose those types of equipment to bring home with us, because it was the easiest thing to be able to make portable and set up shop at home and still be able to produce with. So keep that in mind as you're going through this, what type of things that you can bring home and easily utilize so that you can still create and make stuff at home. So I see some of you guys commenting in, a lot of people from YouTube today. Hi, Marcia. She says she really enjoys our videos. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. We're working hard to make sure we're actively bringing you guys content. All right. Hi from Texas, Lunds Designs. They enjoy our videos as well. Thank you so much. We have people from Oregon, Tennessee, Texas, Arizona. So we're all over, and I always enjoy seeing where everybody is joining us from. So feel free to comment that in and let us know. But let's go ahead and dive into today's topic. So we're actually going to be cutting a heat transfer vinyl that I haven't cut yet in this segment of Making It Together, and that is our Chalkboard heat transfer vinyl. So this is Chalkboard. It comes in a 12-inch roll, and it is a black heat transfer vinyl, and it's really, really fun for crafting because you can actually draw on the material with chalk. All right, so whenever we first launched the Chalkboard heat transfer vinyl, we were showing you guys how you can utilize just those basic chalk sticks, if you will, if that's what you want to call them, what you would typically draw with on outside, on a patio or cement, what kids are typically drawing on, or even on a typical chalkboard. So the little Crayola chalk sticks that you typically see in like a teacher's room and things like that. So this is the design that we're going to be creating today. And this is all done actually with the chalk markers. So originally, whenever we were testing with this product, we were a little concerned about the makeup of the marker and how it would react to the heat transfer vinyl. And I actually just tested this today, how this brand of marker would do, because you can get a lot more detail and kids can have a little bit more fun with it if they're not outside and you guys don't want a bunch of like chalk messes and dustings like everywhere. This is a really great option. Plus kids, I know from my nieces and my nephew, they love markers. So having a chalk marker that works on this is a really cool way to actually decorate these today. So I cut this out. This is a sample shirt. I just kind of wanted to test. We'll be pairing chalkboard heat transfer vinyl with Fashionfilm so that we have a cool little graphic tee that they can still wear if they're not planning on drawing on it, or if they want to have some fun with it, they can draw on it as well. So these little mini tees we offer for sampling, and a lot of people utilize them for samples. So their customers can see the finish of the transfer or heat transfer vinyl that they want their customer to see the finish of. However, these also work great for dolls and stuffed animals and even some small pets. So use how you'd like, whatever your preference. But this is the idea that we are actually doing a pairing on this size t-shirt that a kid can pair and have a matching t-shirt with their doll or stuffed animal. So that is the concept that I'm utilizing for this project. That way you can pair them together for if you're planning on selling this, or if you just want there to be two items for even your kid to decorate and have fun and play with. So these mini tees, we'll share a link of those. They're right on the Stahls website. But yeah, so let's go ahead and dive in. I already have my material loaded up on the Cricut cutting mat, and I'll share my screen with you as well so that you can see what we're looking at as far as the design goes. So with chalkboard transfer vinyl, if you are new to this, this is still just like your typical heat transfer vinyl, and it's going to be mirrored. I already have my Fashionfilm cut out, as I showed you already. So we're just going to be cutting the chalkboard here. So as soon as I have this mirrored and I make sure I have the exact amount of material on my cutting mat that's going to make up the dimensions of the design, all I have to do is hit continue, and it's going to start connecting to my Cricut Air Explorer. I'm curious, for those of you that are working with a Cricut now, I was actually just having this conversation with Josh because I want to test out the app for the Cricut. Or have you guys been able to connect your Cricut design space to your phone in order for that to actually cut right from the phone? So I downloaded the app and I started testing that out to see, you know, how it would work, kind of like how the canvas portion is and how designing was in there. And it seems pretty straightforward. It actually mimics the look of the canvas from just being online on my computer very similarly to the app, but I can't get the Bluetooth paired. So I was curious if any of you guys are currently using the Cricut app and if you guys are actively using it from your phone to the Cricut so that you don't have to worry about having a computer and connecting the USB port and things like that. So do we have any Cricut users watching now? Feel free to comment in and kind of let me know what that experience has been like for you. Dimitri says he's been using his mini tees for business cards. I love that. That is such a good idea. I would have never thought of that. So that is really cool. Thanks for sharing that. But yeah, being able to just put your information on this so people know that you make t-shirts, that's really, really cool. All right. So my design's all cut out, and the setting that I was on for this is just your typical iron-on setting that's right there on the dial, so you don't have to worry about, sorry, let me unshare my screen. So you don't have to worry about putting any specific settings in there or trying to remember cut settings. And then it's your typical weeding process. So just going to I don't know where my weeder is at. It's usually sitting right here on my table, but I misplaced it at this point. So I'm just going to use my fingers and peel away that excess material. And I'm already peeling away the wrong piece. This is actually supposed to stay solid. You know what? We're just going to cut it again, guys. Or maybe we'll do this one different. Yeah, we'll just color inside the letters for this one. No biggie. All right, so again, at least you guys are getting the right process. Sorry for the error here. All right, so basically, as soon as I get the rest of this weeded out, all I have to do is trim this away. It's really easy to weed, and if you're familiar with CAD-CUT products, this heat transfer vinyl honestly reminds me a lot of Fashionfilm. So Fashionfilm is a really thin, lightweight material, and this has the same amount of thickness, and it weaves very similarly. It doesn't have quite as tacky as a backing that I'm familiar with, but you know, it still does a good bit, so it holds on a decent amount of detail. If I hadn't have teared that so abruptly as I did, then it probably would have stuck a little better as I was trying to put that back down, but it did get some stretch to it, and I really don't want to mess with it at that point. So I'm not going to make you guys sit through the cut setting again. We'll just apply this, and I'll show you how the markers apply inside the letters. All right, so we're going to apply the chalkboard heat transfer vinyl, and then we're going to do a border with the Fashionfilm around that because we're doing chalkboard on a black t-shirt. So I wanted to make sure that there was a white heat transfer on there to kind of pick up exactly what the saying was on the garment. But some other ideas for chalkboard that you can utilize are tote bags. So I've seen customers do branding for like small little like convenience stores and grocery stores where they put their logo on there and then they drop chalkboard on there so that they can write, you know, like on a reusable shopping bag, things that they're out of that they need to go pick up. I've also seen it done on aprons for local pubs or breweries and things like that. And they kind of just have on there what their name is or what their feature of the day is, different things like that. So be creative with it. There's a lot of fun things you can do with this, but in my mind, I think crafty and doing a really cool project with it, especially for kids, since they love working with chalk and chalk markers. So we'll be using that today. All right, so some other comments coming in. We have people from Chicago, India, Phoenix. So yeah, a lot of different places. Saudi Arabia, wow. All right, so kind of all over. All right, Donnie is from Mississippi. All right, thanks guys so much for commenting in. Always a joy to see where all we are able to reach you guys from. All right, so the t-shirt that we're gonna be heat applying is from Cavio. So what I'm going to do is heat that up on my platen here by just giving it a quick tap for like 2 or 3 seconds. And that's just gonna release any moisture or wrinkles in the fabric. All right, so this is going to heat apply at 300 degrees for 10 to 12 seconds. Right? You can use a cover sheet if you want to. We always recommend a cover sheet if something, just in case something were to be up on the heating element or something like that. This is a warm to cool peel, so I am going to wait for this to cool just a bit, and then we can go ahead and weed away, or not weed away, but peel away that carrier. All right, so I wanted to show you this up close so that you could see what it looks like on the garment. And when the light hits it, it does create a really cool tone-on-tone effect. And it's just like, it's not like a true black, but it's fairly charcoal there. So you can kind of see that it really does mimic the look of a chalkboard. All right, and now we'll apply the Fashionfilm. so that that allows that to really pop off the garment. Right, and then that applies at 320 degrees for 15 to 20 seconds. So anytime you're working with a mixed media, always make sure you're going with the highest temperature of the product that you are pairing together. In this case, I would want Fashionfilm to apply at 320 degrees. So I would apply both of those products at the same temperature and time to make sure that they're getting the accurate application. All right, so there's the design. And now I just kind of want to show you how it does with the chalk. So you can see here, you know, this is fairly easy to work with, and I had a ton of ink come out in there. But if you wanted to just kind of color, if they wanted to just kind of color in each of the letters, they can do that. And that's what I like about the outline of the Fashionfilm, because it's not necessarily going to adhere to the Fashionfilm. And then once this dries, they could go in with other colors. You could do a bunch of different things. So the marker definitely does work. And this just kind of shows you all the different things that you can do with it. Obviously, the more of the chalkboard that you're working with on here, the more area you're going to have to play around with. So keep that in mind. If I would have weeded that out accurately, I would definitely have more surface area in order to draw and kind of play around with. And what's nice about the chalkboard too is all you really need is a damp rag or paper towel, and it does wipe right off. So this kind of dried on me because I damped this down a lot earlier whenever I was messing with this and kind of doing some testing. So this is a little bit dry. But if this were to be a little bit more wet, this would wipe right off. All right, so that's what's nice about this. It does come right off if it's wet. So bear with me. You guys kind of get what I'm talking about here. The only thing I have in here to drink right now is coffee, and I'm not going to wet my rag with that and get it all over the t-shirt. But yeah, as long as this is wet, it will wipe right off. It'll come right off in the wash. So it's like a new t-shirt every single time it goes through the wash cycle. And then that finally brings me to the wash instructions. So the chalkboard heat transfer vinyl is going to last just as long as our typical heat transfer vinyls do. And they are certified to last for 50 plus washes, which is typically the life of the garment. So you don't have to really worry about this compromising the finish of the garment or the quality of the products that you're used to offering your customers or just working with in general. But yeah, the marker does come off. I did see that question come in. And these markers specifically are the Bistro chalk marker. And I don't know if that's why this marker works well with the heat transfer vinyl or not. But that is the brand that I use and I've had success with. There are other markers, chalk markers out there. From craft stores that I haven't really tested with. So definitely be careful with the type of brand of marker that you're working with, because like I said before, we were a little concerned with the makeup of the heat transfer vinyl and how it will react to the different makeup of this marker, because ultimately it's different than chalk, even though it does work on a typical chalkboard. But these ones did work out just fine. I wish I had water in here to wet that a little bit more to show you how easily it removes, but I can take a picture of it later and show you guys in the Facebook group if you're in our Heat Press for Profit group. But this ultimately is going to be a really fun project that you can do at home during this time or keep your kids busy, especially with the weeding process. It's definitely something fun and different that you can do with your kids if you kind of just want them to have something different to do. And these did come in a color of 4, right? So they're all neon colors and very easy to use. Don't have to worry about ruining anything with it because they do come off just with your basic water in a wash cycle. All right, so Dimitri, I think that he is responding to my question from earlier, use the Bluetooth connection. So that's something that I tried to do with the Cricut to be able to cut designs from my cell phone, but I couldn't get the Bluetooth to connect to the Cricut. So if anyone happened to join after I asked that question a little bit earlier, please comment in and let me know if you've had success with that. Okay, and Adrienne says she knows the feature works with the new Joy, but I prefer to work from my computer and Maker. All right, awesome. So that gives me a little insight. Maybe it's just not something that works with the Cricut Air yet. All right, and some new comments in. What does the chalk stick look like on it? Oh, that's a good question. So if you use the chalk stick, it does look a little bit different because ultimately it's not a marker that is adhering to it. So if I color this in, I'll put this on, it definitely looks a little bit more faded. Right, so the more you color in that, the more opaque I would imagine that turns out. But ultimately, in comparison to the marker that's on there, it's not as vibrant, but it's definitely doable. All right, some other projects that you could do aside from apparel with the chalkboard. We've talked about doing placemats with chalkboard. So if you want to keep those at the table and have something for them to draw on during that time, that's a good idea. And then a blanket as well. So if you wanted to add chalkboard pieces to different, like an old blanket or something like that, that creates a larger area for your kids to draw on, that's a great idea as well. All right. And Cher asked, does the chalkboard vinyl come in signed vinyl too? Not at this time. I'm actually not sure if that's in our pipeline to add or not, but it's something that we've discussed in the past, so it may or may not be. But right now, we do not offer it in a vinyl yet. So that was my first thought with chalkboard as well, is to do it in a signed vinyl and actually create a chalkboard that you could utilize for that. And Joe says, on the Cricut Air, do you have a Bluetooth adapter? No, I don't have a Bluetooth adapter, so maybe that's why. All right, so I'll have to look into that. All right. Okay. All right, so it looks like I answered all of the questions. All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Josh will be back presenting his segment of Making It Together. And I appreciate you guys joining me today. And I hope you guys are staying safe. And I will see you again on Friday. Thanks.